I'm live, and I have no Corey with me this morning. I believe he is on another live stream right now, so I'm waiting for him to jump in with us. Good morning, everybody. I am Greg Smithwick, co-host of Hashtag Coffee right here on the So Local Live Network on both YouTube and Facebook. Nice to be with you this morning. So my whole plan for today's show, everything that I read and looked at was to help explain what the hell is happening with GameStop stocks and the giant hedge fund operators and some people from Reddit. So I really prepared to ask a lot of questions about that. But the guy who I count on for expert information is missing from the show. So I don't have anything prepped. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. So how are you? Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Corey. I hope you all are fine. Everything's fine. So let's just wait to cover all that stuff, and we'll spend a few minutes. I hope Corey gets here soon. He's not answering my chats, but I think he's in another live stream actively right now. So we'll just we'll get there when we get there. But how are you this morning? Let's talk for a minute about what I'm beginning to see. That something that bugs me about what's happening with the Biden administration is I'm seeing a lot of people that are upset at things he hasn't gotten done yet. And I want to remind them, today is Friday. He's been president a week. There's only so much you can do by executive order. And the rest of it is going to take a lot of strategic moving of pieces and shouldering of people and cajoling and threatening and stuff like that there to get things done. So the thing that's been bothering me the most this week is the why are kids still in cages thing. So let's talk about that for a few minutes. Let's talk about what's happening there. First of all, understanding the lay of the land in that situation is important. And ordinarily, in a normal time, in a normal transition from one presidency to the other, the time between the election victory and the inauguration and the installation of a new administration would be used to coordinate between the appointee members of the Biden administration that are Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Patrol, Immigration, Customs Enforcement, and the people from the prior administration that did those jobs. Well, that didn't happen, and it didn't happen. And I want to make sure that we're all, let's blame the right party here. And I don't mean political party. I mean the right person or persons. The people that did not coordinate a transition with the new Biden administration are responsible for the policy that put kids in cages at the border. That's a fact. Furthermore, the new Inspector General's report in that world indicates very clearly that this was an intentional policy that they instituted. It wasn't an accident or an oversight or a failure to plan. It was malicious in nature. So why would they be in a hurry to give the Biden administration any information on the plan when they know that they're probably going to end up being at least civilly and likely criminally liable for the deaths and disappearances of any of those kids? That's what's happened here. And yes, I want those kids out of cages, but I want to remind everybody that in 2018, and if you remember when Beto O'Rourke was running for Senate, he is from the El Paso area, and there were several stories over a 3 or 4 week period where Customs and Border Patrol was basically dumping hundreds, if not thousands, of detainees under an overpass in El Paso with no food, no shelter, no blankets. And what happened was the local charitable giving organizations like the Catholic Church and other charities had to scramble to meet the needs of this sudden influx of people that were literally dumped under an overpass in their city. I don't want that to happen with these kids that are detained at the border. So if I'm the Biden administration, I'm right now building a framework to make sure that we know where those kids are going, how they're going to be cared for, who's going to be caring for them. Right? There's a process here, and I'm not any less, stiff-necked about get those fucking kids out of cages, get those kids out of detention, get them reunited with their families. I am just as frantic for that as you are. But what would you just release them all today? Then what? Right? What's the plan for what to do once that happens? There has to be a system in place to recombine these families. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's happening, right? That framework is being built. But if you don't know how to swim, you should not jump off a pier to save somebody who's drowning. And right now, without enough information, this is essentially the decision-making version of being a person who doesn't know how to swim, jumping off a pier to save somebody. I absolutely want those kids released today. And it is a high priority. And we've learned over the last 24 hours that there's a lot in motion to make it happen. But if it happens in such a way that these kids are just dumped on a street corner along the Texas or Arizona, New Mexico, or California border, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with any of this. But who I'm not okay with is not Joe Biden. It's not the Biden administration's fault that this happened. It's their responsibility to clean up the mess. Absolutely 100% true. But I don't want them to do it in a half-assed fashion. I don't want them to do it in a way we can all go, oh, good, that's fixed. Let's move away, without knowing what happens after we turn off the TV and walk away from that conversation. So I just want to clarify, I'm annoyed that pressure is coming from the left today. And if you don't think that the far right is going to make hay with that, oh, look, they're squabbling among themselves. Okay, they don't like Biden either. Okay, that's okay. You're welcome to that position, but when I start toting up the raw number of things that this administration has already got right in the first 8-9 days, I'm not going to bounce on their heads just yet. Is it likely that they're going to do things I disagree with? Yep. Is it likely that we're going to speak up about those things when they happen? Also, yep. We haven't pulled punches as far as recognizing when our team and Biden is our team get things wrong. So we're going to do that. Right, Virginia, especially since China has troops in Mexico to go after us. Yeah, that's the thinking. Corey Elko, I was talking to my wife about that. Imagine how many teams and how many experts and systems you need to build or rebuild just to fix one issue like kids in kitchen. That's exactly it. It's not a simple thing. And furthermore, I would gamble with you that part of what the Biden administration is fighting right now is people that were put in place that are supportive of the Trump policy that are now going to drag their feet in fixing it, right? That's a thing. They're fighting the tide here. So I think I can't imagine that it's not a super complex issue, and I can't imagine there are people in the White House right now whose stomachs are churning because they can't get it done today. And I want to give them the space to make those decisions and make things happen as they can. Yeah. So I just wanted to start with that this morning, that there's room for us to recognize the complexity of the issue. And that's why we were so upset when they started doing it 3-4 years ago, because we knew unfucking this was going to be really, really difficult and time consuming, and people were going to die. So that's not cool. Hey, Chet, nice to see you. Do you know where Corey is? Because I can. He didn't answer my chat when I set up the show this morning, so I may be just doing this all on my own. I don't know what's going on. So hopefully they're working on improving their living circumstances and putting counseling in place while they wait for the systems to be built to reunite them. Right, and you know, I would. The other thing that I learned last night is that Dr. Joe Biden, the First Lady, is monitoring that situation. So I'm guessing that what she's doing is saying that, have we got them enough peanut butter sandwiches? You know, have they got enough blankets? Can we get, a detachment of somebody to drive down there and make sure those kids are getting antibiotics if they have are they being COVID tested? Are they being vaccinated? Right. I have a feeling that that's what's happening from the humanitarian end of things. Is that's probably where the First Lady comes in. So, and I'm not excited that it's taking this long, but it is. And here's the difference. I don't think that Joe Biden is just sitting around the Oval Office mashing the Diet Coke button and ranting about what they're saying about him on Fox News this morning. I don't think that's what he's doing at all. Guess why? Because he's a functional human being. And I'd be saying the same thing of any other president other than Donald J. Trump, because provably that's all he fucking did. So yeah, good morning. For those that are just joining us, we're minus Corey this morning. I'm not sure why. We were chatting very early this morning, and then he got involved in something else and hasn't joined us just yet. Darling Nikki, while Virginia joined my new conspiracy theory group, why? We want to know why people believe conspiracies. I'm creating a new deep state conspiracy that McConnell is running a coprophilia ring and the GOP are in on it and contributing. We're fighting bullshit with bullshit now. I don't know if we need to do that. So let's see. Yeah, he's taking many calls and meetings today. He will be meeting with many people today. Oh, God, I'm so glad we're done with that. Aren't you glad we're done with that? Like knowing that he wasn't doing anything useful while he sat there in the fucking Oval Office. I did post the running late message because I hadn't heard from Corey just yet, and we'll see. And now we have the usual Cult 45 gang pretending that everything wrong is Biden's fault. Right? Is it? Right. We got a member of Congress who calls Parkland survivors cowards, who made an accusation that that giant space lasers started the California fires, and that it was maybe a laser owned by the Rothschilds. So we have a Jewish conspiracy theory about wildfires in California, and that person is on the Education Subcommittee in the House of Representatives. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Yeah. I tell you, Vice has an amazing documentary on Q. I've been watching, like, the posts that I see. I wonder what percentage of the posts that we're seeing about Q are actually trolls. They're actually people like me who would go in there and fuck with them, to make things crazier. And now I'm beginning to think maybe that's not the best idea because they tend to want to believe just about anything. So, yeah, I'm so irritated that McCarthy ran right over to Mar-a-Lago to try and reanimate the corpse of the ex-president. I tell you what, that was, first of all, did you see the setting behind them? I'm like, maybe we should pick someplace a little more humble and less opulent for this photo opportunity. Secondly, after the day of the insurrection, Kevin McCarthy saying the president bore some responsibility, why the fuck is he meeting with him? And the reason is, as AOC so astutely told us day before yesterday, because this is what they want. They want those voters. They want that anger and that rage. They want that. That's what the Republican Party wants now. If not, the House Minority Leader would not be meeting with the ex-president who fomented a rebellion at the Capitol. They want this. And so that's not great. Hey, Jareen, nice to see you this morning. Corey's absent. I hope you have a great day. Getting close now, 20 days, something like that. Getting close to having a baby. Yeah. Shit, dude. Trump supporters are saying Biden supporters can't say anything good about Biden and are still talking about Trump. Oh, yeah. We just, boy, we're saying a lot of good things about Biden. How about this? He's an empathic and caring human being. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't my explanation, Fred. My explanation of the Wall Street nonsense yesterday was helpful. It wasn't my explanation. And furthermore, I had prepped to have this conversation with Corey because Corey is so much more knowledgeable about this than me. And I have questions. Like, for instance, I wanted to be mad at Robinhood all day yesterday. But I found out from talking to Corey overnight and from some links that he posted me that, do you know what stopped? You know why Robinhood stopped trading in the GameStop stock yesterday? Is it because they are funded by a company that invested a bunch of money in hedge funds? No. Dodd-Frank, the legislation that we put in place after the financial crisis to stop this kind of thing from happening, worked. It put the brakes on those trades. They have to collateralize those trades. They have to have the money in the bank to pay out whatever those buys and sells are. And the volume was so incredibly heavy as more and more people dogpiled onto the GameStop stock thing that they had to stop trading. AOC was right to ask for an investigation, and the investigation is going to show Dodd-Frank pumped the brakes, which it should have done. Now, the question that I still have, and why I wish Corey was here this morning, was why wasn't there some sort of Dodd-Frank mechanism to stop the fucking hedge funds from buying 140% of the available shares or shorting 140% of the available shares in GameStop? And furthermore, a lot of the stock that actually exists is owned by the board of directors and other and pension funds inside GameStop. So really, they had about a 300% overexposure in shorts. Why wasn't there some Dodd-Frank mechanism to stop that from happening? Why does that Dodd-Frank thing only stop people like you or me from buying and selling and manipulating the market? Why is there not something that stops these big hedge funds from doing the same thing? And that's the answer that I think we need the question to. That's the question I think we need the answer to. I got that backwards. Yeah, Well, that's just dumb bullshit right there. That's not true. You can swear your oath on any book you want. So it's That's why I can't get down that rabbit hole with you, Nikki. I can't. It's too stupid. There's lots of important, smart stuff to talk about. I can't go down their Q rabbit hole. They can fucking have it. Are they dangerous? Yes. That's all I need to know about them. So did McCarthy pay for Trump's lunch? Probably. That's where they are. That's where they are. Okay. Well, speak for yourself, sister. Oh, God. I'd be thrilled if Trump started a new party, thereby splitting the Republican Party. Yep, that'd be cool. I did love watching Ted AOC humiliate Ted Cruz. I'll work with any Republican, but the ones that tried to fucking kill me last week. Thanks for nothing. I thought that was pretty awesome. And she is right that there needs to be an accounting for that. She is right that there needs to be an investigation here. But that investigation to show that Dodd-Frank actually worked for this specific thing. Right, but it stinks that it happened that way because it allowed the hedge fund guys to trade. I agree. Yeah, people go back and watch. I actually thought of that. I saw a meme yesterday of that scene in the limousine, and with I think I need to go back and watch Trading Places again. Sue, I posted on my wall yesterday an explainer for what this whole GameStop fiasco is basically, and it has to do with you have to first understand what shorting a stock is, and that's what happened. And the hedge fund operators drastically overshorted that stock way beyond what they should have been allowed to do to drive the value down, because that's the goal when you short a stock, is to sell it back or to have to buy it back for less than you borrowed it for. Shorting is a weird thing. It's sort of bluffing in the stock market. But bottom line is, and almost 2 years ago now, this one guy on Wall Street Bets, which is a Reddit group, he posted just a picture of his trade platform screenshot that showed him buying GameStop, and it said GME YOLO, and everybody in that whole forum thought he was insane and was making fun of him. Every month he would post that he'd bought more of it. For over a year, everybody in that forum told him he was nuts, stupid, you're going to get your ass kicked, you're going to lose your investment, blah, 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 blah. But what he recognized, and the person that put him onto it was Michael Burry. If you watched the movie The Big Short about the 2008 financial crisis, Michael Burry is the guy that had the glass eye and always played heavy metal drums at his desk in his office. And he's the guy that was the mechanism that helped them understand how they could bankrupt these mortgage brokers that were doing heinous things. Michael Burry is the one that came up with this idea that what he saw was there's no way that GameStop's stock should have been that low. It's not very valuable, but they were in a pretty good position a year ago, and they were ready to pay off all their debt. They had a business model that was working. They'd seen an increase in a couple of sectors of sales, so the stock value was actually higher than the price. And this guy from Wall Street Bets on Reddit figured out that the reason the stock price was low was because these hedge funds were shorting it and driving the stock value down. That was their intent, was to drive the stock value down. And that's not honest. That's not good for business. That's not making anything better. So essentially, he started buying the stock. And just a little bit at a time, other people caught on to this, and they started raising the value of the stock. So that when you've shorted a stock, on the day that it gets called, the margin call, you have to pay whatever the stock value is that day. So they started shorting it, trying to keep the price going down, and it wouldn't. The price kept rising and rising. So they get on the hook for more and more money, until it just ran over a cliff the other day and has nearly bankrupted two different giant hedge funds. I'm not mad about that, and that's really the conversation I want to have about with Corey about is about who, he's worried that little investors are going to get hurt here. Frankly, I don't have a lot of sympathy for anybody that plays in the stock market. I understand that people's pension funds are sometimes based there. Whether I think that's a bad idea or a good idea, it is a thing. So I don't want little people who their life savings to get destroyed by this. But at the same time, I don't have any sympathy for hedge fund managers at all. And so I guess we'll have to have that conversation another day. I'm very afraid the Republicans will run back to the abuser because they like the lifestyle he provides. I think you're right, Elizabeth. I think it's a pretty good snapshot of their dynamic. Yeah, Corey says this is happening because Dodd-Frank isn't very well written. It's a Band-Aid. Right, and they expected to have time to make more legislation to do more control. Guess what? I think we're probably going to see some of that happen now. Yeah. Let's see. At the end of The Big Short, it even explains, how poor Dodd-Frank was. That's true. Yep. Let's see. I want to know how to return the Q folks to reality. It's dangerous for so many people to decline to accept reality. That's above my pay grade. I don't know how to deal with people that can't live in objective reality or refuse to live in objective reality. So, yeah, I went back last night, Corey, and read some of the threads about this, and what my observation is, the people that from that group that got in on this, they know they're going to lose money. They know when the stock goes back to its normalized value that they're going to lose money. They don't give a shit. And I'm remembering things like long before any of this, I belonged to a web community. I still do, from a website called fark.com, which has a headline, a funny headline, a link, a story link, and then a discussion thread on a lot of different topics. And I've been a part of that community for, I don't want to say, almost 20 years now. And two things that happened. There's a famous picture of Will Wheaton, who played Ensign Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation. A fan had knitted him a sweater, and it's a really horrible sweater with short, puffy sleeves and a giant clown face crocheted on the front. And there's a picture of Will wearing that sweater, at a convention. And concurrently, Vogue magazine used to have a thing, Rate My Look, where people could post a picture and magazine readers could rate, oh, that's a good fashion look, that's a bad fashion look. We melted Vogue magazine servers when somebody from our community posted the picture of Will Wheaton in the clown sweater. We got the Vogue website went down for 2 days because we killed their server. And why did we do it? Because we could. Because we had internet access and we could. The Arab Spring. You remember when there were countries in the Middle East that shut off Twitter access and social media access so people couldn't post pictures of the police beating people to death and killing them? And somebody started passing around IP addresses so you could start a fake Twitter account and allow those people to communicate outward. I and many other internet denizens did that. Why? Because we had internet access and we could. The Onion ran some articles. They actually created a character for Joe Biden called Diamond Joe. And there was one, it was a shirtless Diamond Joe Biden washing his sweet ass Trans Am on the White House lawn. And it's a Photoshop picture of Joe Biden in a tank top washing a Trans Am. We liked that so much. We liked Joe Biden so much that we actually started a fund. We were going to try and buy Joe Biden a sweet ass Trans Am. When we raised enough money to do it, we found out the vice president is not allowed to receive gifts of that value. So we ended up donating the money to charity. We raised $20,000. Did we feel like that was wasted money? No. And so I think a lot of the people that got in on this thing with GameStop, that Corey's worried about getting their asses kicked, they know. Like yesterday, the guy that started this whole thing lost about $14 million in value on the stock when it dropped. But he stayed. He didn't sell a single share. And all of these little guys that have $5 or 5 shares of the stock or whatever, they all said, I'm not selling either. They're going to hang on to this and ride it out. To prove a point. They're spending money to prove a point. And I'll be frank with you, if I had $500 in spare money laying around, I might have gotten in on this just to fuck with hedge fund operators. Can it happen again? I'm not so sure. I'm hearing people talk today about Blockbuster and about Nokia and about some other companies. I'm not sure this can happen again. And I'm not sure that it should, because what this guy did was based on a pretty good fundamental understanding of the difference between the price of the stocks and what their value should have been. And he started prying into why there was a difference between those two things. And he bought based on the information. So he didn't do this just to be stupid. He didn't do this just because, fuck with the hedge fund. He did it because it looked like a good investment to him. Everybody told him he was crazy, but it turned out he was right. What he was seeing in the stock value was correct. And here we are. So, and then it got media attention and now it's blown up, right? Even overnight, the value went up again. Again, I couldn't find. I don't have a ticker handy, but it went up considerably again overnight, making hedge fund operators' lives worse. And if they're worried, if the hedge fund operators are really worried, perhaps they should like make their coffee at home and stop eating avocado toast. That'll help them recover from the billions of dollars that are of losses that are about to ensue. So there you go. Yeah, it might be $70 billion. Jeez. Also, the thing I found interesting was that they borrowed that money. What's the name of the primary victim hedge fund here? Is it Melvin? Have I got that right? Anyway, they borrowed money from a couple of hedge funds, and they have to pay credit card interest on that. So they're basically going to pour all that money on a hot skillet. It's going to evaporate in interest as long as the stock value doesn't plummet. Sorry about your luck. There you go. They're upset that the wrong people beat them. That's exactly right. And watch how fast there's legislation to keep this from happening again. Not legislation to keep hedge fund operators from buying 140, 160%, or shorting 160% of available stock. That's interesting. People don't put their retirement in hedge funds. Billionaires do. I guess some school systems, whatever, might have some funds in there. I am worried about that. I'm worried about people that innocently got into this because they saw a good return, or they believed a broker that told them it would be a good return. But we allow states to pass fire regulations that don't necessarily protect people that lose their homes. I feel bad for those people, but we learn something when it happens. We learn that the states need to be held accountable for their fire management policy, right? So there are disasters that teach us things, and I'm hoping this is one that teaches us something. Let me look at some of the more 401ks can have hedge fund investments. I didn't know that. I don't know what Portnoy have any opinion of Portnoy. I'm not sure. I need some context for that. So clearly I don't, because I don't even know what we're talking about. Let's see. This is back to the QAnon thing. I did a podcast on that issue. Fred Eater, Return to Reality, argues that we need to repair the education system and we need to restore faith in the media. Fake news has been shouted so loudly and frequently we have no reason to believe anything we don't like. I don't know. There's no short-term fix for that, right? These people that are convinced that the president and Trump swapped faces in a back room, and now Trump is actually really the president, or he's going to be inaugurated in March. I don't know how to reach that. I don't have fucking time. The shit is on fire, and I don't have time to explain to somebody that fire is real. I'm not wasting any of my time trying to unify with those people. I just can't. I personally don't have the energy for it. If you do, God bless you. Mazel tov. Have a great day. But I can't even begin to think about how to approach those folks. Do I think people misunderstand what real journalism is? Yeah, I think they do. They don't understand, editorial boards. They don't understand publishers' attorneys' meetings where they have to prove their sources. Those are real things that happen, and all you have to do is watch. You don't even have to read the book by Bob Woodward. You could just watch the movie All the President's Men, and you'll learn how difficult it was for them to break that story. It took as long as it did because the editors kept saying that's not enough. We can't go to print with that because lawyers will eat us alive. And so that's how actual journalism works. And it really infuriates me that people don't get that, the difference between what they think the media is and what real journalism is. And if you don't think that real journalism is happening at places like NBC News and ABC, well, then you have to explain why when they get a story wrong, somebody loses their fucking job, which happens. So, yeah, there you go, Chet. I'm interested, Chet, to hear more about this. We're watching the power of horizontal networks against vertical institutions. That's the broad footprint of millions of people deciding they were going to buy GameStop stocks, and with the intent, honestly, in the last 2 weeks, with the intent of fucking with these hedge funds, showing what their power is. It's the same power of millions of people donating $5 to Bernie and not $10,000 to Trump in a presidential election. This is literally grassroots activism in capital markets, and I think that's pretty interesting. I'm kind of mad Corey's not here because I think he has a bit of a different take on this, and I think I need that. I need the conflict in my life. Yeah, there are other stocks, Mark. AMC is another one. I'm not sure as long as the underlying fundamental difference is there that he exploited. And what's the guy's name? It's fucking Deep Value, or Deep fucking Value is the guy's name that started this. As long as he sees the same kind of pattern where they're over shorted, great. But if other people are just trying to pump up a stock that they from like Blockbuster just because, I'm not sure that's going to be helpful. But what is going to be, I think, what is going to happen is now, and this has never happened before. Attention is being paid to how hedge fund managers short a stock, destroy a company, people lose their jobs. And they all make billions of dollars and buy 2 yachts, right? Now we know that actually happens. And I think for most people, that's a lesson that we didn't have 2 weeks ago. So that's interesting. Yeah. Wall Street didn't want anyone to know the trick. That's right. Why would you pay a broker if you could do this for yourself? There it is. Yeah, I'm anxious to hear what Liz Warren has to say about this. I haven't really had time to look into any of that. Yeah, let's see what else. That stuff about face switching and how the ex is still the real president is everything. I keep telling myself that's the FBI trying to settle them down. Let's see. I'm done trying to enlighten the unenlightenable. If that's a word, the students seek out the teacher when they are ready. Yep. Where's Corey? Wait, what? I don't know. So I'm just about out of stuff to talk about here. I can only carry half the show on my own. That's how that goes. Let's see. Yep, not sure where Corey is. I think with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. It's possible we can go live later this afternoon. If Corey's around, I'd be willing to do that. I don't know what took him long, but it happens once in a while. So, yeah, I'm thinking today might be a good day to sell. Shoo. All right. Guys, I'm going to wrap up with that. Like I said, I didn't do any kind of show prep except this today, and I am not the most qualified person to talk about this. I want to make sure that you guys, I'm sure you know this, do not take financial or stock market advice from me, because I don't even understand the basic terms that we talk about in this. So save that for your broker or your investment advisor. And Corey will tell you the same thing. Far more knowledgeable than me, but he's not a certified financial planner, so you want to be careful about that. So look, take care of yourselves. Don't get sucked into anything that you think you can make $8,000 a share on a stock overnight tonight. That's a mistake. It's the FOMO principle, fear of missing out. Don't get sucked in to a jet engine on that. It would not be cool. So take care of yourselves. Take care of your own financial futures as best you can. And laugh your ass off that hedge fund managers are going to have to sell one of their yachts today. That's the best we can hope for sometimes. All right. That's going to do it for me. As you know, I believe Sasquatch is real. I don't have a lot of beliefs, but that's one. And if we're going to go live again, I'll post about it in a little while on So Local. I just haven't heard from Corey. So I don't know if he is doing something else or he fell asleep. What's happening there? Right. Yeah. My Goldman Sachs guy said this morning, don't do anything right now. That's probably the best possible advice. I'm not a financial planner, but that seems like good advice right now. So with that, we'll love you guys, and I hope you have a great day. And we'll maybe go live again at some point in the future. Bye, guys.